Welcome to Echo of Crime YouTube channel. The night shift at Stockton West Distribution Warehouse was usually silent. Most workers kept their headphones in, forklifts stayed parked, and only the hum of the ceiling lights filled the air. But on June 18, 2019, something changed. Something that every worker still remembers, even today. It was 2:13 a.m. when the first sound echoed through the loading bay. A loud metallic bang, sharp enough to make the few workers on duty stop what they were doing. Security guard Leo Martinez, the only guard on shift that night, looked up from his desk inside the security office. He checked the monitors, expecting to see a forklift moving or an employee entering the area. But the camera screens showed nothing. The entire loading zone was empty. Confused, Leo rewound the footage. At first, everything looked normal, long rows of shelves, pallets stacked neatly, and a quiet, still atmosphere. But then, just a few seconds before the noise, camera 12 picked up something odd. The motion sensor triggered, yet there was no person, no object, not even a shadow clearly visible. Still, the red motion indicator blinked like someone was standing there. Leo leaned closer to the screen. "What triggered it?" he whispered. Seconds later, another bang echoed, louder than the first. This time from Bay 3, one of the oldest and darkest sections of the warehouse. The lights above that bay flickered, then stabilized again, giving the whole area a cold blue tint. Leo grabbed his flashlight and made his way toward the bay. Every step felt heavier than the last. When he reached Bay 3, the air felt colder. Pallets were slightly shifted, and one empty metal cart had rolled several feet from where it had been earlier. Leo checked the floor. There were no footprints, no drag marks, nothing showing someone had touched it. He radioed the warehouse supervisor, Mark Dorsey, who was upstairs doing inventory work. Mark hurried down the metal staircase and joined Leo, both men staring at the cart that had somehow moved on its own. "Check the cameras again," Mark said. "Whatever happened, it should be on video." Back in the security room, both men watched the footage from camera 14. At exactly 2:13 and 42 seconds a.m., the cart suddenly slid across the floor, smooth, steady, and without anyone touching it. No shadows. No workers. No forklifts. Nothing. Mark froze. Leo slowly leaned back in his chair, fear mixing with confusion. "Is someone in the building?" Mark asked. Leo swallowed hard. "If they are, they know how to stay out of sight." Neither man said it out loud, but both felt something chilling. Whatever happened in that warehouse, it didn't behave like a normal break-in. And 2:13 a.m. was only the beginning. The next night, no one wanted to work the night shift. Some workers called in sick. Others simply refused to clock in after what they'd seen on the monitors. But the warehouse couldn't shut down, so management pushed the shift forward with extra security. Leo Martinez returned for duty, still unsettled from the night before. He sat down in front of the same set of monitors, but this time, he watched each screen with deeper focus. His eyes kept drifting to camera 14, the one that caught the moving cart. He replayed the clip again and again, hoping he had missed something. At 1:58 a.m., the lights in Bay 3 flickered again, just like the previous night. This time, the flicker lasted longer, as if a power surge passed through only that part of the warehouse. Leo leaned closer. "Not again," he whispered. He switched to camera 12, the camera that triggered the motion sensor the previous night. What he saw made his hands tense. A silhouette. Not a clear figure. Not enough to identify a face. But definitely a human shape. It stood near the far wall, motionless. Just a dark outline in the corner of the frame. Leo froze. His breath became shallow. He reached for the radio, but stopped. Was it a glitch? A shadow? A reflection? He rewound the footage. The silhouette wasn't there a moment ago. It appeared suddenly, between two frames. He switched to camera 13, which watched the same hallway from the opposite side. Nothing. The silhouette didn't appear on that camera at all. It was standing in the camera blind spot, a location where camera 12 could see just a fraction, but camera 13 couldn't capture it at all. At that moment, Supervisor Mark entered the security office, holding a fresh cup of coffee. "Everything quiet tonight?" Mark asked casually. Leo didn't answer. He simply pointed at the screen. Mark leaned in. The silhouette remained still, its shape barely visible in the blue-tinted darkness. The grainy camera quality made it look unreal, like a glitch that shouldn't exist. "Who is that?" Mark whispered. Leo shook his head. "No one should be there." That entire hallway was locked at 11 p.m. Mark exhaled slowly. "Check the door logs." Leo switched to the digital door control system. The log showed no entries, no exits, no badge swipes, no alarms. "Whoever's down there," Leo said, "didn't come through a door." A deep, metallic clang echoed through the warehouse, louder than the night before. Both men jumped. On the monitors, camera 9, the camera watching the forklift aisle, flickered violently. Static. Then darkness. Then static again. When the image finally returned, something new was on the screen. A forklift had moved several feet from where it had been parked. Its headlights were glowing, even though no key had been inserted. Mark's mouth fell open. "Leo, how is that possible?" Before Leo could answer, camera 12 blinked. The silhouette was gone. Not moved. Not walking. Just gone. Vanished in a single frame. Mark stepped back. "We need to call the police." Leo hesitated. "If we call them, we need proof. Real proof." He rewound camera 9, slow frame by frame. At 2:13 and 6 seconds a.m., for a single blurry frame, something or someone moved behind the forklift. But the frame was too distorted to tell what it was. Mark stared at it silently. "This isn't normal," he muttered. "Whatever is in this warehouse, it knows the cameras. It knows the blind spots. And it's moving when we don't see it." Leo swallowed hard, fear rising in his chest. And as 2:13 a.m. approached again, both men realized they were no longer watching the warehouse. The warehouse was watching them. The clock in the security office ticked toward 2:13 a.m. again, the same time everything had happened the last 2 nights. Leo and Mark sat in front of the monitors, the room silent except for the low hum of the building. Both men were tense, their eyes glued to camera 12 and camera 9, the 2 cameras that had captured the strangest activity. "Whatever happens tonight," Mark whispered, "we need to stay calm." Leo nodded, though his hands trembled slightly. At 2:12 and 49 seconds a.m., the lights in Bay 3 flickered again. Not a random flicker, a pattern. 3 short flashes. A long pause. Then 2 more. Mark leaned forward. "Is that Morse code?" Before Leo could answer, camera 9 went to static. The forklifts blurred, then froze. Then the screen went dark. "Not again," Leo muttered, trying to reset the feed. Suddenly, camera 12 triggered the motion alarm. A red blinking icon appeared. "Motion detected. Hallway 7. Leo clicked the feed. And there it was. The silhouette. But this time, it was closer. Much closer. It stood near the center of the hallway, the same place where the blind spot prevented camera 13 from seeing everything. The figure looked like a tall man wearing a warehouse uniform, but the camera resolution was too grainy to see a face. No ID badge. No name tag. Just the outline of a person standing perfectly still. "Who is that?" Mark whispered, even though he knew the answer. Leo's voice cracked. "We fired a worker last week, someone who knew this place better than most." The silhouette moved. Slow. Smooth. Like he knew every step, every blind spot, every camera angle. He stopped directly below camera 12 and stared up at it, as if he could see the men watching. A cold shiver traveled down Leo's spine. "Mark, he's looking right at us." Suddenly, camera 14, the cart camera, turned on by itself. No one switched to it. No one touched the controls. The monitor flickered, revealing the loading bay from a new angle. The forklift that had moved the night before now rolled backward on its own. A low mechanical creaking filled the speakers. "No, no, no," Mark said. "That's impossible." The silhouette on camera 12 suddenly moved out of frame, quick and sharp. "Leo, he's heading toward Bay 3. Mark grabbed the radio. "Warehouse floor, respond." But nobody answered. Every worker had stayed far away from the loading bays after what happened the night before. Then, from a hallway outside the security room, Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. Leo muted the monitors. The footsteps continued, then stopped. Right outside their door. Mark mouthed silently, "He's here." A shadow moved under the door. Leo reached for the emergency phone, but at that exact moment, all cameras went black. Every screen. Every feed. The entire system shut down. Mark whispered, "How did he do that?" "Only security has control." Leo whispered back, "Unless he used to be security." Silence filled the room. Then a loud metallic clank echoed through the hallway, followed by the sound of someone running. Leo grabbed the flashlight and opened the door just a crack. The hallway was empty, but on the ground was an ID badge. He picked it up with shaking hands. Name, Evan Holt. Position, temporary warehouse staff. Status, terminated, access revoked. Reason for termination, attempted unauthorized entry. Night shift. Mark took the badge. "This is the guy who tried to break in 2 weeks ago." Leo swallowed hard, but his keycard shouldn't work anymore. Mark stared at the badge, voice shaking. "It doesn't." Leo looked up, confused. "Then how did he get inside?" Mark took a deep breath, eyes wide with realization. He never left. A loud crash thundered from Bay 3, louder than ever. Both men ran to the monitors, but the system was still dead. When power finally returned 30 seconds later, every camera came back online, except camera 12, where the silhouette had stood. That feed stayed black, and the red text at the bottom flashed. Camera disconnected. Cable manually removed. The police arrived minutes later, searched the entire building, but found no sign of Evan Holt. No footprints. No fingerprints. No exit logs. It was as if the man seen on camera had vanished. But the badge was real. The silhouette was real. The forklift movement was real. And the system shutdown, manual, intentional, precise, was real. The official report labeled the incident unauthorized intrusion, suspect not located. But the workers who were there that night still tell their own version. Whatever appeared on those cameras after 2:13 a.m. was someone who knew the building better than anyone else and knew exactly how to hide.